Welcome to my channel Adhyan with Flow. In our previous video, we complete C3 cycle. What is the use of C3 cycle? They produce food. They produce food, glucose. Let's start about C4 pathway. So this pathway adapted by dry tropical regions plant. Dry tropical regions plant, they adapt C4 pathway. All type of plants, guys, I am giving you statement. All type of plants, they do C3 cycle. They do C3 cycle. Now let's start with C4 cycle. C4 pathway also conducts C3 cycle inside. Okay, through these plants have the C4 oxaloacetic acid as a first CO2 fixation product. They use the C3 pathway, or this pathway use both C4 pathway and C3 pathway. They do both the cycle, guys. They do both the cycle because C3 is the main cycle for food synthesis now. So this is the compulsory cycle. And why C4 cycle is regulated? Because in dry tropical region they face some dryness, highest temperature. So this plant adapts C4 pathway. What are special in C4 plants? Like maize, sorghums. What are special in C4 plants? They have a special type of leaf anatomy. Yes, they have a special of leaf anatomy. They tolerate higher temperature. Of course, they live in high, dry, tropical region. They tolerate higher temperature. They show a response to high light intensity. Yes, light intensity is also high. They lack a process called photorespiration. This is the most harmful process for plant. So they protect their cell with the photophosphorylation, photorespiration. In a daytime, they prevent this respiration thing. We know now at a daytime plant do photosynthesis, but at a night time they do what? Respiration. Respiration. So at a daytime they prevent respiration, have a greater productivity of biomass. Yeah, two cycles happening in a one leaf, so yeah, they give greater productivity. Okay, the particularly large cells around the vesicular bundles of C4 plants are called bundle sheets. They want to say that a large cells, these are the vascular cells. These are the vascular bundles like xylem, like phloem. Okay, they are surrounded by bundle sheet. This tight anatomy we can call it as a crane's anatomy. Cranes means wreath and is a reflection of arrangement of the cells. The bundle sheet cell may form several layers around the vascular bundles. This is not a one layer, this is a multiple layer, guys. So CO2 can't cross easily, so O2 can't cross easily. They are characterized by having a large number of chloroplasts. They contain lots of chloroplasts, guys. They contain lots of chloroplast. What is the use of chloroplast? Useful in photosynthesis, guys. Photosynthesis. Thick wall impervious to gaseous exchange. Why they form a thick wall? Because no gaseous exchange. If CO2 in surrounding, they are beneficial, but in case if oxygen is high, then what happen? Plant does not require this now, so they made a thick wall, so less gaseous exchange, so less transpiration rate. Transpiration means removal of water. They reduce the loss of water. Some examples of C4 plant is maize and sorghum. To observe the crane's anatomy and the distribution of mesophyll cells, we can study maize and sorghum. These are the plants. Look at here, guys. This is the whole mechanism. This is the complete mechanism of C4 cycle. Here C4 cycle is conduct, and here again C3 cycle is occur. Why they do this thing? Why? Because reason first, atmosphere, high temperature, okay, high heat, high dryness, if high oxygen in surrounding, reduce photorespiration. So that's why they adapt themselves. That's why they adapt themselves. Leaf contain what? Leaf contains stomata. Leaf contains stomata. All right. They also contain mesophyll cells. Mesophyll cells contain chloroplast. They also contain some bundle sheets. Look at the thick bundle sheet. So here C4 cycle regulate and here C3 cycle is regulated. This is the mesophyll cells and this is the bundle sheet cells. I repeat, this is the mesophyll cells and this is the bundle sheet cell. Atmospheric CO2 enter into mesophyll cells, yes, and they make this form. Clear, guys? And now in the case of C3, we know that Rubisco enzyme is enter. The Rubisco enzyme is work. But in the case of C4, this enzyme not work because they also bind with oxygen and this is harmful for plant. So PAP case, this enzyme show only affinity for CO2. So CO3 and phosphoenol pyruvate, product of glycolysis, they combine with the presence of PEP case. They produce what? They produce 4 carbon product. This is the 3 carbon product, guys. This is the 3 carbon product, phosphoenol pyruvate acid, and this is the 1 carbon. Look at here, na 1. They produce what? C4, 4 carbon product, and this 4 carbon product transport into where? Bundle sheet cell. This 4 carbon product transport into where? Bundle sheet of cell. Here what happened? 1 carbon is released and goes towards where? 1 carbon is released and goes where? Where, guys? They release in the form of CO2, and now CT cycle will happen. You know now, RUBP combined with CO2 and they produce 3-phosphoglycerate, and they produce triose phosphate, and they, again this cycle happen here. So where this CO2 is come? Here they reduce their 1 CO2, and then remaining 3 carbon compound, again they cross, they reach here. Now here 3 carbon come, look at here, and now this enter in this phase. Simple, very simple, guys, very simple. I repeat it for you once again. This is the mesophils, these are the mesophyll cells, and these are the bundle sheet. Okay, this two term is clear? Yes, clear. Now atmospheric CO2 comes and enter in mesophyll cells. This term is clear? Yes, clear. Then 3 molecule phosphoenol pyruvate combined with what? HCO3, and they 3 and 4, they make a 4 molecule compound. We can call it as a oxaloacetic acid. They make 4 carbon compound, and this 4 carbon compound enter in the bundle sheet cell. And what they do? They break their what? They release their 1 carbon, and this 1 carbon CO2 take participate in C3 cycle. Here is the C3 cycle conduct. Here is in bundle sheet C3 cycle is performed. Now remaining, how much carbons are remaining? 3 carbons are remaining after releasing 1 carbon, and this 3 carbon goes towards the again mesophyll cells. They regenerate and convert into phosphoenol pyruvate. So this process is continue further. Then again they bind with HCO3 and then fixation. They produce 4 carbon compound. Yes, here also ATP and NADPH is used, and here this carbon conversion regeneration, they also use 2 ATP. So yes, energy is also required. Overall in one cycle 5 ATP molecules require, and 2 NADPH also require. So if this cycle is 6 times generate, then what happen? 5 into 6, 2 into 6. What is the ratio, guys? 30 ATP used here and 12 NADPH used here. Now let's move further towards the photorespiration. This is the loss of the C3 plants. C4 plant protect themselves with photorespiration, but they can't protect with photorespiration. What is the photorespiration? In the case of when O2 level is high in atmosphere, temperature level is high in atmosphere, light level is high in atmosphere. So photo respiration, this is conduct. Now what is respiration? Any flow chart? No, your book does not give any kind of flow chart, but I'll make it for you. I'll make it for you. I'm drawing in photo respiration three kinds of cell organelles are used. Three kinds of cell organelles are used in photorespiration. First is chloroplast. This is the chloroplast. Remember this sequence: peroxisome, mitochondria. Remember this sequence. This is important for competition exam. Now, what mechanism performed in chloroplast? Do you familiar with RUBP? We know na RUBP takes CO2 from surrounding, but in the case of photorespiration, O2 is enter. O2 is enter, and what they make? What they make? Now they make phosphoglycolate. Yes, guys, they make phosphoglycolate. And now this phosphoglycolate remove their phosphate group and they form into glycolate. Now this glycolate enter in where? Peroxisome. This glycolate enter in peroxisome, and this glycolate change into glycine, and we lost some oxygen and we found some peroxides. Now this glycine enter in where? Mitochondria, and this glycine converts into serine, and we again lost what? Energy, guys. We lost energy. No, guys, look at here. This is the conversation. No, I'm not adding arrow here. No, guys, no. This conversation to this conversation, matlab we got energy. That's why we got energy. That's why our plant doing this process, because in photorespiration we also get some energy. I know we lost some energy as well as we get some energy also. Now serine enter in again where peroxisome. So here serine enter, and serine conversion into hydroxy pyruvate, and this pyruvate change into glycerate, and again we lose some energy. Guys, here, yeah, we lost some energy. Now glycerate enter into the where? Chloroplast, and this glycerate participate in the formation of phosphoglyceric aldehyde, and again we lost some energy. And now this PGA going in Calvin cycle. This is the C3 cycle. So guys, I know this is the loss of the plant, but sometimes this reaction also provide energy. That's why C3 plant doing this. So that's all for photorespiration, guys. And there are some factors, guys. This is the table for you guys. Remember, if you study deeply, then you can solve this. The first question is cell type in which the Calvin cycle take place, means C3. They are talking about C3 cycle. Where C3 cycle occur? In C3 plants. Where it perform? Of course, guys, mesophyll. And here C4. Where it perform? Where C4 cycle is performed? Look at here. In C4 plants, where C3 cycle is occur? Where? Look at here. Come with me. Where C3 cycle is regulate? In bundle sheet. So that's your homework, guys, not mine. That's your homework, not mine, guys. If your concept is clear, then you can solve this. If you can't solve this, it means your concept not clear. So this is your homework. I told you how to do this. Okay, this is the question and there are your options. If you solve this, it means your concept is tremendously great, and you can't solve this, it means you lack something. So that's your homework, and I don't know how much loyal you are. And some factors also affecting photosynthesis. First, like light. If we give high intensity of light, high duration of light, high exposure of light, while discussing light as a factor that affect photosynthesis, of definitely guys they affect. In the medium range of light, these are good for plant, but high light, no, they don't get this light. There is a linear relationship between incident light and CO2. No, if CO2 is increased, yeah, production is increased, but if light is increase, if light increase, so at a specific level they show less photosynthetic rate. At higher light intensity, gradually the rate does not show further increase. Yeah, at a high light, after reaching this point they doesn't show anything. All right. And another factor like CO2, CO2 concentration, what they affect. Carbon dioxide is a major limiting factor in the food. Of course, they take CO2, H2O, then convert into C6H12O6 plus oxygen. The concentration of CO2 is very low in the atmosphere. I know that. Increase in concentration up to this much percent can cause the increased CO2 fixation rate beyond the level can become damaging over longer period. This is the peak value of getting, assume this is the peak value of getting CO2. This value is enough for plant. If you provide excess amount of plant, if you provide excess amount of CO2, these not good for them. These are not good for them. The C3 and C4 plant respond differently to CO2 concentration. Yeah, this plant, C3 cycle plant and C4 cycle plant, they respond different according to CO2 concentration. Okay, C4 easily saturated. Why they easily saturated? Why they easily C4 easily saturated, guys? Why? What is the reason? Because they have high authentic protection there. So enough amount of CO2 is enough for them. But C3, they need more oxygen for more photosynthesis. So that's are the difference. The fact that C3 plants respond to higher CO2 concentration. Why? Why they require more? Why C3 require more CO2? Because they have rubisco. They have rubisco, and rubisco work in better way when CO2 is high and O2 is less. But why C4 is good? They easily satisfy because they contain peptides, guys, and they only bind with CO2. So they only take CO2. If they are if they are low in number, if they are high in number, they always take CO2. But in the case of rubisco, the case is compulsory that CO2 when a high. If oxygen is high, they carry oxygen. So that's why C4 cycle is best. Now temperature and water, they also affect, guys. Temperature is also need, also necessary for plant, and water is also necessary for plant. During this reaction water is required, then we can get food and we can get oxygen because H2O gives us to oxygen. So that's all about this your chapter, and your chapter is complete. So that's all for now, guys. And still you don't subscribe my channel, then you have to subscribe, guys. You have to subscribe. Thank you. Thank you for listening me. Keep smiling and revise. If you revise everything twice, thrice, 10 times, 20 times, you are gonna be perfect one day. You have to solve this, guys. You have to solve this thing. If you can't solve this, calculate yourself then. Compare yourself with intelligent person. Thank you. Thanks a lot.